Now I'd like to call upon our next presenter, who is going to be, that is going to be presented by Aya Elmegi. Sorry if the pronunciation is incorrect. A postgraduate student from Hochschule Enhel, located in Germany. The title of the thesis is Environmental Impact of Constructed Wetland Parks Towards Achieving Sustainability in Case of Egypt, guided by Professor Alexander Kader and Professor Ahmed Heron, and it falls under the theme of urban landscape. I will request you to start saying your scene and start the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayad Mediki, and the pronunciation is pretty good. I'm on you today to present my thesis for the Masters of Landscape Architecture program, MLA, at Anhalt University, Germany. So first of all, the thesis focuses on the environmental impact of constructed wetland parks towards achieving sustainability, with a case study of the wetland park at the Tal Ramadan city in Egypt. So first, and actually as my colleague Larissa, the first presenter today, mentioned in her thesis, the abstract here claims that the climate change and water scarcity are the main two challenges facing many countries worldwide, where researchers have been concerned about reducing the negative impacts of climate change and natural disaster on urban environments. So suggesting the introduction of constructed wetland park as catalyst project that promotes favorable changes and has a positive impact on the environment. That's why it's considered one of the most prominent nature-based projects that aid in overcoming the effects of the two major crises on cities. The goal of this study is to create a new assessment instrument that is more appropriate for constructed wetland parks. The study is based on a structured questionnaire that examines some suggested indicators. A proposed assessment tool evaluating the sustainability performance is studied, which raises the question of its feasibility to be further developed as a software. Finally, it appears that the proposed constructed wetland park index is seen to be an easy and specific assessment tool for constructed wetland park performance. Nevertheless, it can be more extensively employed in landscape architecture projects if it's published as a globe app to enable comparison of global park performance. Since there are few tools available for evaluating the park's success, it's difficult to actually determine their sustainability performance. As a result, a recommended set of main influencing impacts is suggested to be convenient in the assessment of the constructed wetland parks. So the main objective of the study here is the assessment of the positive impact of introducing constructed wetland parks through a proposed assessment tool. This actually evaluates the impacts of various factors for constructed wetland parks according to the relative importance weight in achieving sustainability, which will then answer the research question. Thus, it's very important to understand the assessment indicators, SDGs, and also the national SDGs, where the thesis here focuses on studying two main assessment tools, the Leopold matrix and URBUNs. So, as a first, it's required to reach an understanding of the main pillars of sustainability, as previously mentioned by many of our colleagues. So it's important to understand those pillars of sustainability achieved by the multifunctional park and its role in sustainability and benefits for the ecology. So a recommended set of main influencing impacts is suggested here to be convenient in the assessment of the constructed wetland parks. Then a questionnaire was conducted that evaluates the relevance weights of proposed impacts and factors and evaluate their importance in achieving landscape sustainability. The results are then utilized to create the mentioned dedicated assessment tool. The results here showed the great importance of the three sustainability pillars, indicating a highly significant statistical correlation that supported the research argument, showing a high certainty ratio, also indicating consistency and reliability of the outcome results. So to examine those suggested impacts and to prove the positive contribution of the constructed wetland parks in achieving sustainability, regardless of the climatic factor, a comparative analysis is conducted for 5 international case studies across the world with various climatic conditions using the proposed environmental indicators. For further better evaluation, a developed assessment tool is proposed, which is a proactive framework dedicated to assess the wetland parks performance towards achieving the sustainability. So in the constructed wetland park index, each impact should be assessed for the magnitude, significance, probability, and duration of the factor for each phase separately, construction phase and operation phase, where the scoring of each of the 4 evaluations is based on given specified scale, and the assessment should cover each factor for each phase separately. The proposed assessment index is user-friendly, and it includes a detailed matrix and 5 visualizing charts. So it's very easy as just entering the name of the project, the location, and the assessment score for each impact for both the construction and operation phases. This entrance is only in the matrix sheet, and then the proposed matrix continues the whole work. It auto-calculates everything and represents them in summary and detailed charts. For the application and assessment of the proposed tool, it's applied on a case study in an arid climate in Egypt. So here, the matrix auto-calculates everything according to given equations and represent them in summary and detailed charts for each phase in terms of economic, social, and environmental factors. So first, a summarized chart for sustainability performance of the total park and for the construction and operation phases. Another summarized chart auto-calculates everything for categories assessment analysis. Then 3 detailed charts, each of the sustainability pillars: environmental aspects, social cultural aspects, and economical technical aspects. So the thesis here concluded that the constructed wetland park index is a user-friendly assessment tool for constructed wetland parks, evaluating sustainability performance in various stages of the park. So it considers the 3 sustainability categories and evaluates each effect based on its importance weight. The tool here also compares the achieved performance to the maximum possible achievement for the park, and can assess also projects under construction for early appraisal and improvement. And the thesis finally recommends that further development as a digital software, automated and shared app, which could pave the way further for a digitized sustainable landscape era. So of course, this was a very big thesis. So this is kind of summarizing everything in details is already mentioned in the thesis. Thank you so much. I hope you have gained an insight into the thesis, and I sincerely appreciate your attention, interest, and your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aya, for such a wonderful presentation of your work. I would like to call upon our panelists now to have a discussion on the topic. Clara, would you like to say something?
Is that my turn?
Yes, so you can start on. I don't.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Aya, I think you have done a very valuable, really, truly speaking, a valuable work. You know why I'm saying that? That we keep doing, or actually we keep designing or even implementing many good projects, public good projects, whether wetlands or anything else. But what happens is that there is no systematic way of evaluating them while maintaining. So that's why the work you have done, I think, extremely valuable, and the way you have done it in so great detail and clarity, although I'm not a technical person, but the clarity which you have presented it, and I think this document in whatever form given to the agency or the people who are going to follow it to assess any work done or even under design also to assess it. So I would only say that much, that it is the most useful and valuable piece of work I have seen in these 9 pieces of thesis I have seen. I have seen only 9, so don't get too excited, but within that 9, it is a useful document you have created.
Thank you so much.
That also for a very useful and important project or series of project which is need to be implemented these days a lot. And for that you have done it. Commendable job. Thank you. I will not go beyond that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Clara, would you quickly like to say something about the presentation?
Yes. Thank you, Aya, for your presentation. Clearly a very in-depth research. How much time did you dedicate this research? How long was this?
I think about 10 months or a year, something like this.
Okay. I guess.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. So actually, it's not only for the assessment tools, because it started first with the understanding of the 5 analyzing the 5 case studies first. So this was the first stage, and then understanding the case study that we have in Egypt. This was another phase. Then analyzing the impact. So it was a little bit of complicated steps or steps over each other. So this is why it took maybe a long time to finish.
And how does this assessment compare to other existing assessment tools out there for this, or it is that the case that there are no assessment tools for this specific?
So far, there is no assessment tools dedicated for the constructed wetland parks. So there are some assessment tools which were already mentioned, and it's already described in details in the thesis, was the Urbi index and the Leopold matrix. So generally, Leopold matrix is very general. It's for any type of assessment for any kind of project. So it's not dedicated to landscape or to constructed wetland parks. So I've tried my best to search for the best easy to apply tools, and at the same time that are used worldwide and are well known, and at the same time to be able to address directly the main indicators for the landscape or for the constructed wetland parks. So the recommendation that I've reached at the end is so far it's very applicable for the constructed wetland parks and can be further developed, as I mentioned, as a tool to be for the general landscape architecture, not only the constructed wetland parks, and to be used as a tool to compare all over the world. So you can enter the information for this park and this park, and they are totally different in any arid climate, in any climate, sorry. And then at the same time, you can get a comparison for the projects worldwide. So it will be not only dedicated for the constructed wetland parks, but also for all different types of landscape.
Okay, yeah. I think this is very necessary because we need a way to compare. That said, you mentioned an easy way, and I think there is a step, a next step from what I can see, and from my limited knowledge on this subject, without obviously having read the whole thesis, is about making this accessible to more people and understandable for more people, and to get feedback for your metrics from more people, because one thing is one person waiting or putting an indicator into a table than having hundreds of people feeding into that table, and I think there's a big gap between those two things. Obviously, some of these things are very technical, and you can't open that space for, you know, the common public to vote, or, you know, but maybe there's a way of integrating the public in a way to also assess the impact of this in a way, or providing a broader audience the space to actually input into the table. Yeah, and in that sense, I think representation again is a huge thing. So how do you translate your findings, your assessment, your matrix into a graphic proposition of some sort, an application for the phone, or some sort of device that can be plugged into the other technologies that we're already using, and facilitate that so that more people can actually help in this assessment. Yeah, so that's what I would kind of envision this moving, especially if you're thinking this would be more than just wetlands, and that can be kind of a tool to address more landscape architecture, you know, projects, is to see how this can actually be rated in a way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Clara. Gary, would you quickly like to know 1 or 2 lines?
Yeah,
Say
yeah. I was a bit curious about the process. I was a bit curious if you started with the software or the data collection, or you started with the case study. Now it's very clear that you started with the case studies, and then it eventually led you to finding that this is the product that you want.
Yes, because I wanted to reach an understanding of the indicators that should be added in the assessment tool. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are the...
I also really like how you stepped away from the traditional approach to a thesis, architecture thesis. Usually it's always a building or a master plan. This is very tech-based, app-based, data-based project. I was a bit overwhelmed when I saw your project first. It's like a lot of information. How do you bring it to the end of it? Really impressed. And also how you tackle different habitats and different ecological zones. It's also very important because, for example, a wetland in China by Torrenscape is not the same wetland in the US or in India, because it has a different zone. So maybe things that you can add to it are, you know, like what Clara mentioned, is basically not just keeping this as a website where only specific people who knows about it will go there. You can basically bring it to the project itself. When you actually build a new project, you can add maybe a sustainability meter. So this is something that we usually have in the projects that we do. We actually add a sustainability meter on the building. So when you enter the building, you can see how sustainable your building is. What is the air quality? How less energy has it used from 2 years back or yesterday? How does it compare to all the other participating buildings around? So when it's a landscape project, you can say how sustainable is it? What is the carbon offset? What is the ecological impact of your project?
How to improve it better? What
is the water quality? Things like
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much that. And well done. So I hope you patent this soon, and you can see us on the website. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aya, for such a insightful
Thanks.
presentation.